right, here we go. This is, once again, Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. We're trying to make it happen. And so um, let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. All right. So here we go. Like I said, this is Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. This is another session on just planning, creating a pathway, looking at different things you can do in order to have success. Some people have struggled, right? Some people have struggled with where they are right now. At this point in the year, they've set goals, they've identified things they wanted to do, but they haven't been able to make any progress. They've been, dwindling, struggling, looking at, giving up. And so I'll throw it back to something Norman Vincent Peale says that I always like to, always like to reference. And Norman Vincent Peale said it is always too early to quit. It's always too early to quit. And that's something you need to remember, that when you're working on a goal, when you're working on objectives, when you're working on a project, and you just want to give in, it's always too early to quit. And one of the things I want to throw at you regarding what would be vision, what would be ideals, what would be the idea of living your dream and becoming a doer as opposed to a dreamer. One of the things I want to throw at you simply is that take one of the places that we look at, let's take Disneyland, right? Disneyland was somebody's dream, but it used to just be an orange grove, right? And so at some point, someone had to have enough vision to see beyond the orange groves in this Orange County suburb and decide that, what, this could be something bigger and greater if I put enough effort into it, enough energy into it. Take the Crystal Cathedral, Robert Schuller, from past pastor of the Crystal Cathedral, who came to California and right up the street from Disneyland, saw a empty drive-in movie theater and saw the potential for that being one of the finest worship centers in California, if not the United States. And so think about it, that having that vision beyond what's in your face is going to be important for you to carry out, making these dreams come true, making these things that you believe in to become a reality. And so take the time to rest assured that your vision, your dream is a place where you want to go. It's a destination. And as you make it a destination, you need to figure out what's the pathway to get there. What's the pathway to arrive on time with all of my stuff together and, have a safe passage from A to the end, because you may not be going from A to B. You may be going from A to B to C to D and B1 and B3 and then back to D. There may be different, things that come up. And I want to throw this out there for somebody who's dealing with this whole, pandemic curveball, the whole thing of what, COVID-19 has happened. We don't know where this thing is going to continuously take us, but we do know that it's going to take us through some changes. And so being able to see beyond what's just happening now and say, at the end of this, what are some things people are going to need? At the end of this, what are some services people are going to need? Are people going to need more mental health services? Are people going to need more support for all this working remotely at home? Are people going to need things to, support them in getting back to going into the office and being comfortable engaging with people? What are the things that people are going to need going into this next level? Otherwise, you might have an idea that somebody else swoops on and does and initiates, and you're saying that, man, I knew I should have started that. Look at that. I knew I should have did that. Look at that. Look what they're doing. And so in cases like that, you need a plan. You need a pathway. You need a roadmap. And one of the things I like to say is that roadmap is going to make a difference in where you go and how you go along and get things done. And so remember, that's going to be important. And so as we start, I just want to make sure you remember, Norman Vincent Peale, it is always too early to quit. It's always too early to quit. And don't get down on yourself. Don't, jump all over yourself. Know that it's always too early to quit. And so, boom, let's get into this. You have a dream. You have an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do. But do you have a plan? That's the key question. Do you have a plan? And planning is essential. Okay. Planning is essential. Planning is not just a formality, right? Planning is essential. And I say that because, this is the same thing when you reference the art of war. And, today's about planning and how you attack the day, how you attack what's your objective for the day. And so planning is essential. Planning is important. And in doing that, the plan will, give you guidance along the way. It'll serve as a reminder of why you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It will play into all sorts of aspects of, how you're trying to reach a destination. Your plan will be the fundamental reference for when you do your analysis of, am I on the right track or not? Your plan is going to definitely tell you, is this, still a clear and consistent manner in which I'm moving about, or do I need to make some changes? Your plan is going to motivate you and help you to make moves. And definitely your plan is something that should hold you accountable. We don't talk about accountability a lot, but the responsibility of what you're trying to do is to be accountable. And if you need to develop an accountability partner, somebody that can hold you accountable, then you need to share your plans with somebody beyond just what's in your head and what's written in your notebook. That's real. You gotta do that. You want to get venture capital, you've got to share your plans. You want to get additional funding and support, you've got to share your plans. You want to get that business loan, you need to share your plans. You want to bring in partners to your vision, then you need to share your plan. You need to get comfortable being vulnerable in sharing your plan. That's real. A lot of us are defensive and protective of the ideas that we have. We don't want anybody to steal our idea. We don't want anybody to run off with it. But get it to the point where you have a plan that you're able to share, not just an idea, right? You need a plan that you're able to share, not just an idea. Plans are beyond just the idea. And so Benjamin Franklin said it, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, right? It's been said numerous different ways and twisted up and regurgitated in different ways, but that's what it is. No plan usually leads to failure, and if you have no plan, you can have one definite expectation. Failure is bound to come because you won't have projected or anticipated certain things to come along the way. Like I said, planning is essential. We need to keep that in mind, that planning is essential, and it's a key element to turn potential and possibility and purpose into prosperity. There is no way that I love what Gerald Peters says. There's no way that you can get it by simply going along with having this lottery mentality that is just going to fall from the sky, that leprechauns and pots of gold are awaiting you at the end of the rainbow. You've got to get in, dig in, and do the work. And part of the essential initial work is building the plan, right? I would hate to see what your house would look like if somebody constructed it for you and they had no blueprint or no plans. They said, oh, well, we're just gonna throw it together. We're just gonna slap it together. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna be how I want my house in the design. That's not gonna be how I want my dream house in place. And so, in order to do this, this is part of what I would consider to be dream work. Dream work. And when I say dream work is part of the work that you do on your own dreams, the work that you do on your own dreams. And when you do this dream work does require, guess what? Work. All right. And so you have to work on this in order to make this happen. Richard Allen, the founder of the AME denomination out of Philadelphia years ago, right? One of the things he said, whoever hopes for great things in this world takes the pains to attain them. That means that there may be some times where you've got to grind and gruel through it, but you've got to do this because you're hoping to achieve some great things within this world. And so dream work is the planning and working on turning your dream into reality. All right. And in order to make the dream work, you have got to get to work on the dream, right? Focus, finite focus, putting your focus on what you plan to do. Is it a career change, right? Is it turning a hobby into a side hustle? Is it going back to school, as far as going back to college or completing your high school diploma, right? And getting your GED. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get in shape in order to get into the military and prepare for boot camp? What are you trying to do to get there? If you show up, not being able to do 5 push-ups, you're going to have a hard time in boot camp. So what are you doing preparing for what's laid out for you in order to get it done, right? Listen, there are a lot of things that are happening, a lot of things that are going on, and with, change of administration, change of times, change of conditions, there's going to be change of policies, right? Schools will start, evaluating people's credentials and things differently. Jobs will start looking at positions differently. And so as they do this, how are you preparing yourself for what changes might be happening with you? Listen, you know what? This is something that is essential. And like I said before, planning is essential. And so in doing this planning, you got to get this together. You got to get this straight. And hey, guess what? This is part of what we have to do when it comes to dream work. I want to share this. I want to be honest with you right now. This is, what is this? The end of January coming up. And guess what? You know what? My man came by, Aldo Chavez, gave me, this athlete, advantage partners t-shirt and some other stuff. And I was blown away. Thank you, Brother Chavez. It goes into when you support other people and what they're doing beyond just them going into the norm, that you support them and guide them. They also return that with some form of reciprocity, beyond thank you, beyond, hey, I'm gonna look out for you, but hey, I want to share something with you. I want to offer you something. I want to provide you something. And that's cool. That's a cool thing. And so as you plan your way, plan the people that you want to touch along the way, the people you want to bring along the way, and be prepared for the people that God sends your way, right? What we often don't do is we often don't prepare for the people God sends our way, and then we're not ready. We're not prepared. We're not ready, and then we miss it because we didn't prepare. And so, in doing this dream work, you've got to go through the pains, right? Go through the pains of trying to see what success will be for you. You got to go through the pains of trying to see what success will be for you and what that'll look like. listen, when we talk about planning, a lot of people look at it with the purpose and the potential and adding persistence and pushing it all and pouring it all into success and pouring it all into success. And that's one model. Like I said, that's one model for doing it. You take everything you have and you pour it all into success. And like I said, that's one model, but it's a model of it's like playing poker. It's like all in. You take it and you put it all in, and it's a high level of bet, high level of stress, and at the end of the day, it may or may not turn out. You got a 50-50. It's a crapshoot. But let's take another look at this. Let's take another look at how we can approach the success journey, right? Right. And so planning this, right? In planning this, we look at success being based upon how you define it, right? If you look at success should be based upon how you define it and how you describe it, and that's for everyone. And it's simple because, it's basic. The basics of it is I can't determine my success based upon something else or somebody else. And, it's real. And when you take it into account, for instance, in football, in the NFL, success for most teams is, to win the championship, to go to the Super Bowl, right? And in some cases, success for a team that's been at the bottom and hasn't done anything is to make it to the playoffs. And in some cases, for teams that haven't had, consistent coaching, haven't had consistent quarterbacks or staffing, and their record shows it, success for them is, hey, we were able to put these other teams out of the playoffs, and we had a 500% record. Okay, that's success for folks at different levels based upon where they are. You have to know where you are and determine and define what success is for you at this time, right? And so it's going to look different from everyone. It's going to sound different from everyone. It's going to feel different. And that's okay, because everybody has to determine their own level of success. And your initial work is to define and describe what success looks like, sounds like, and feels like. And, once you determine it, once you define it, once you describe it, then you need to declare this thing. You need to declare it. You need to pronounce it. You need to speak on it. You need to share it with other folks. Hey, this is what I'm looking to do, and this is how I'm looking for it to become a success, right? You declare it and you determine that you will do all that you can to achieve it, right? That's success. That's part of you outlining what success is for you. And when you do that, your next step is, simple. You're going to do the work, right? You're going to do the work that you've laid out. And so your success will be determined by your ability to stay the course and work your way to achievement. Okay. And I'll share a diagram in a moment that will get you there, but I don't want to spend too much time on the visual when I need to give you the basics so that you can really understand this. Your pathway to success will include aspirations, action steps, analysis, and achievement. These are basic foundations for your plan. Listen, you want to lose weight. You need to know where you are. You need to know where you want to go, right? What are you going to do to get there, right? What are you going to change? What are you going to add, right? And then how are you going to analyze along the way that you're making progress towards that? And then how do you know that you've arrived there? You get on the scale. You say, hey, I want to be at this weight. I'm there or beyond that. Boom. That's what that is. That's how we get to success. That's how we get to what is called achievement. That's how we move along the pathway to success. And that's how we work the work to make the dream into something beyond just something we were looking upon and we were seeking to get and seeking to do. And so as we move further with success, we look at what are called aspirations. And so you've heard me say this a lot of times, know where you are going, know where you are going. It's hard to help folks when they don't know where they are going. They don't know where they want to go. They don't know where they need to go. They don't know what they want to achieve. It's hard to help folks when they don't do that, and they don't even know where they're headed at right now, right? Listen, if your credit score is 600 and you're using all of your credit, right? You're maxing your credit out, and you've also haven't made a payment in 2 months. Your credit score is about to drop and flop. That's what's about to happen. And so know where you are going, know where you are headed. And so you've got to look at this. You've got to look at this and see, are you on a path to achievement, or are you on a path to things blowing up and imploding, right? Is your dream big and bold enough to involve risk? Are you risking what might be your public stance? Are you risking what might be your reputation? Are you risking some of your own money to invest it? Are you risking putting in time with your family and other folks? Are you risking things in order to achieve success? And that puts into perspective, what's your investment? What's your sweat equity? What's your skin in the game? And so you've got to create a clear and concise mission statement and a vision statement. I'll get into those separately at a different time, but understand there's a difference between your mission statement, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and your vision statement, what's your ultimate achievement that you see things being once you've accomplished the things within your mission. And so you need to create that, a clear and concise mission statement and vision statement. Those should be tagged along with the map, right, for your dream work and your pathway to success. And then you need action steps, right? Action steps are, basically, like Lori Beth Jones says, how you plan your work and work your plan. Plan your work your plan, right? And so the action steps are the leg work, the grunt work. Those are the things where you're grinding and you're making connections, you're networking, and you're putting the pieces together. You're turning in applications, right? You're submitting for contests if you're doing something like that. You're putting in for bids for jobs if you're a contractor. You're seeking and actively engaged in seeking out success. And so you identify steps you need to take to get started. What put first things first, as Stephen Covey said. What are the first things that you need to do? Those that have been through Alcoholics Anonymous, that's one of the steps that we talk about when we talk about first things first. You need to do what's most important and not allow other problems to assume a greater priority and consume your time and your mind and get you thrown off track and get you detoured and deterred from where you need to go, right? The first things first, right? So identify those initial steps, okay? Anticipate where you will need help from others, right? Know your own struggles, know your own weakness, right? Do a SWOT analysis, find out what's going on and see where you or your organization, your small business, whatever, see where it might need help, where it might be threatened, and see how you can make it to where you are geared up, right? You are geared up or girded up in order to face that and handle that. And then you need to set your course based upon your goals and your objective. You set your plan based upon where you want to go, how you want to get there, what you want to get done. And take it like this. If I leave from San Diego to go to Vegas, right, and I want to make it there before 10 hours, I'm not going to head due south to Ensenada, right? I've got to come up with a map and a plan for my arrival at my destination, the most expedient way. Okay, that just makes sense. That's where I'm coming from. That's what I'm saying. And so if you don't set a course for where you want to go, you're going to end up anywhere with anything, and that is going to be a waste of time. At most, you will gain experience, and it may not be experience that's applicable to where you want to go and where you want to be. Keep it in perspective, right? And keep it moving so that you understand as you go forward, your action steps are going to include many benchmarks for your success. They're going to include those because you need to be able to determine, is this thing working for me? And how is it working for me? Am I moving on the right path? What's happening? And I say that to go along with analysis, right? MLK said this: I subject myself to endless self-analysis, right? And in doing that, what that means is you've got to be able to measure and monitor what really matters, right? A lot of times we go away from the numbers, we jump off the data and the statistics, and we say, that doesn't really matter. It's more about the intangibles. The numbers matter. The numbers matter. If you're putting it out there and people aren't, biting, people aren't taking it in, people aren't, reaching and receiving what you got, then you need to reevaluate, what's your marketing plan? What's your distribution plan? How are you getting people on your channel? How are you getting people to your blog? How are you getting people to read your newsletter? You send it out and, you read a report and the report says, hey, it hit, 300 inboxes, but you got a 2%, return because only X number of people are reading it. That data is important because do you need to change your methods along the way? And so you need to identify the data and statistics that fuel your progress and productivity. Okay. If you can have data that says, hey, I'm making a difference. This is what's going on. I need to incorporate these strategies and more in order for this to grow. I did this last month with one of my blogs. I incorporated some strategies that I had, learned through, YouTube training as well as, multimedia training, and it paid off. Not only was it the highest number of views and visits that I had within that year, but it also paid off that it was the highest number of views and visits and comments and downloads that I had within since starting the blog in 2018. And so that alone gave me information, right? Statistical data to show that, okay, if I continue doing this or similar methods, then I can maintain a certain degree of response, return on investment. And so that's what I mean. The analysis that you set up is going to provide benchmarks to measure your progress towards your success. Your analysis of your progress will serve as your motivation for you to do more, for you to, increase, for you to adapt, for you to try new things, for you to experiment. And you need to allow your analysis to guide your decisions to adjust or adapt, right? And also to abort. When do you need to quit? When do you need to quit something? Is it not working? Is it not happening? Is it not fueling your success? When do you need to leave that alone and move on and go to the next thing? You need to allow your analysis to provide you enough information for you to make a sound decision on that right there. Boom. And so this makes sense to me, right? This makes sense to me, and I say it because at the end of it is what you envisioned at the beginning of it, your achievement, where you wanted to go, where you wanted to be. And the Bible says this in Proverbs. It says, all hard work leads to profit, right? All hard work leads to a profit. All hard work leads to profit. And so you're going to get something out of it. You're going to get some lesson learned out of it. You're going to get some best practice pulled out of that. You're going to find some things along the way, some nuggets that you didn't have before you got there. And so this serves as knowing when you have arrived at achievement. You need to know when you got there. When I get to Vegas, I'll know I'm there, not just by the neon lights and all that other stuff. That could have been something I saw at the state line. But when I get to Vegas and the sign says, "Welcome to Las Vegas," I know I'm there and I'm not in Ensenada or Tijuana headed in the wrong direction, right? Remember, I'm trying to get there and reach my goal, my destination, within a prescribed amount of time. And so when I get there, I know I'm there because here's the indicator that I'm there, right? You need to have an indicator that says this is a sign that you have arrived. This is a sign that you are in the right place. This is a sign that you have done the things that you needed to do in order to achieve your ultimate goal. Revisit your definition and description of success, right? Reference that in order to say, okay, I said this is where I wanted to be. Here's where I am. Is this the place, right? Take you back to a song by Talking Heads. Is this the place where I'm supposed to be? Is this the right place? Is this where I'm intended to be, right? And so determine if you are there yet, right? Are we there yet? Have we arrived? Is this what success is? Is this what we really were looking for? Is this the place where we wanted to be? If you have not done the initial work of defining and describing what success looks like, right? You know what? You will not even know if you're there. You will not even know if you've succeeded or not. You will not even know if you've arrived. You will just be floundering, trying to figure it out, and it's going to mess you up because you're going to try to figure out if this is the right thing for you or not. And you'll still keep grinding like you're just starting out and not having a plan for going beyond that. Listen, this is where it gets real simple, right? This is where it gets real direct, and take it like this. This is what your map should look like, right? This is what your map should look like. You have your aspirations, your action steps, and your ultimate achievement with analysis along the way. You want to start out with analysis along the way, right? And you take it from there, right? And you start out, what is your aspiration, right? And for this, I go to John Maxwell. It says the dream starts us on the success journey. The dream is a starting point, but we don't stay there. We can't stay dreamers and not become doers and experience success and achievement. You've got to do something with your dream. You've got to do something with your dream. I cannot say that enough. If you don't do something with it, do not expect someone else to pour a blessing upon you and say, hey, I know you've been thinking about this, so here you go. Boom. It doesn't work that way. Like it says, all hard work leads to a profit. And so the dream gets us started, but you've got to plan your work and work your plan. You've got to take those action steps, right? And let those action steps lead you into a place where you're getting busy, where you're doing the work and you're making some things happen, and you can start to see progress along the way. That's the reason why you have that analysis going on throughout this period of work, so that you can see progress and productivity happening with your plan. Remember, this is you designing and developing your dream work, right? And so, boom, from there, you will be able to see what achievement really looks like. All hard work leads to a profit. All hard work leads to a profit. You'll gain some things along the way that you gained that you didn't even expect to gain, but you also need to gain ground on where you want to go, where you've put your focus, where you've determined that this is where I want to arrive, right? And what you want to do. Let me just back up on you and really hit you with something. You cannot go into a full-time teaching position and say, I'm just going to jump into a teacher credential program if you haven't done the prerequisites, right? You can't do that. There are prerequisites, there are steps that you need to take in order to get there, right? And so knowing and understanding those steps are important. You can't just jump into a teaching credential program. You have to apply. They have to verify, that you graduated. They have to verify that you've taken, the initial test. It used to be the CBEST. Now it's something else, right? You have to do certain things in order to be in position and prepared for the next step. And some things require prerequisites, and some action steps have to happen in a sequential order in order for it to happen. Okay? And so you've got your aspirations, you've got your action steps, you've got your achievement. And to go along with that, this is what your analysis should look like. Going back to MLK, I subject myself to endless self-analysis. Understand that? Endless self-analysis. And let me tell you this. This is not you checking, for critics and what they have to say about your latest play. This is not you checking for reviews on your latest book. This is not you checking your YouTube channel for comments on your video feed. This is you going back to your plan and analyzing, where am I? What type of progress have I made? Am I putting in enough effort? Am I doing the right things? Am I putting my energy in the right place? Do I need to rebalance some things? Do I need to reevaluate, my time management? Do I need to reallocate some resources to another aspect of my plan? I look at it in a 90-day model. What's something that I can do over the next 90 days, right, to change and alter my model, right, that doesn't take away from what I've already established? What are some additions, some enhancements, some expansions that I can do over the next 90 days that won't pull away and kill the model that I already have established? You spend 90 days setting it up, right, going through it, checking it out. Is it working or not? And then you decide, do I adapt, right? Do I fully adopt it? Or do I abort it, right? I've got three choices. I can adapt, right? And I can say, all right, if I adapt it, I've made some adjustments, right? If I adopt it, I take it fully on, right? And if I abort it, I'm getting rid of it. What are you going to do? And so you've got to have that decision making based upon your analysis. And you use that analysis because this is one of the things that you're going to have to figure out for yourself, with your partners, with your advisors. Listen, wise counsel is going to be important. You need to have people that, you've got their ear, you've got their attention, and say, hey, wait a minute, can I make this happen? And what are some things that I need to be on the lookout for that I haven't even put into consideration, right? And those are the types of advisors that you want to get, right? And so you definitely want to support other folks, just like I said right here. Look at this today. I got on the athlete gear, right? Athlete advantage. I'm trying to help a brother out. I'm trying to be supportive. I'm trying to be a cooperative partner and making sure that we acknowledge that other people are doing work that we need to support. And in doing so, right, we are in this together. I know you heard, President Biden in his speech and about, being a unifier and doing all these other things. But the main thing that will unify us is us working together, us helping each other. And when you have a plan, identify those who can help you make achievement a reality with your plan. Do not let your dreams grow dormant. Do not let your dreams go dull. Do not let them dwindle off and drift into nothingness. Do not let your dreams die off. Simply put in the effort to build this map for your dream work, to create this pathway to your success. And I see you doing some great things. I see you doing some amazing things, and I see you accomplishing some things that you've never thought would happen, right? This is about you, right, making this happen. And as you get closer and closer to it, you have to pour it all in. You have to put it all out there. You have to exceed your own expectations. And in the statement that it says, all things, all hard work leads to a profit, what it's saying is you're going to gain things along the way. You're going to gain friends. You're going to gain knowledge. You're going to gain experience. You're going to gain new insight and new ideas that can take you to another place. And so take this into consideration. This is the thing that makes a difference. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. This is how much more can we say about that? I mean, that's a major issue. And when we talk about it, here we go. Get rid of the excuses, right? I love what, George Washington Carver, famous Peanut Man, right? Did all these different things. And what did he say? He said it right here. He said 99% of failures come from people, right? Come from people who have the habit of making excuses, right? They have the habit of making excuses, right? And so that's 99% of failures. So listen, this is not something that, you're just going to take lightly. You need to not make excuses, but make a way for your work to get done. And I love that William Wilberforce says this. He just said, excuses don't excuse us, right? We don't have any time to be fooling around and messing around. He said, excuses do not excuse us. And we're not simply, set off to be, out of trouble's way because, I had some things come up, kind of personal, and it doesn't mean you still have the responsibility of getting things done. And so make it happen. Make it happen. I want to share this as I part with you and get some things going on for the rest of it. But I've often quoted Brian Tracy, and this is what he said. He said, never complain, never explain, right? Never complain, never explain. And he said, resist the temptation to defend yourself, right? Or make excuses. This is where we're moving. This is how we're rolling. This is what we're getting done. Resist the temptation to defend yourself or make excuses. Just make it happen. Just make it happen. Just do it. This is where we're going. This is where we're trying to be. And if it's your dream, no one's going to take care of your dream like you. No one's going to be the caretaker of your dream like you. No one's going to handle your baby like you. And so understand that. Understand that and understand that that's going to be key in you becoming a success. Here's a final word for you. Lori Beth Jones, right? From, Jesus, life coach, learning from the best. She simply said, do you get to use your greatest strength every day at work? Do you get to use your greatest strength every day at work? You get to be your best every day at work. Do you get to demonstrate that you have all of this in place every day at work, that you get to be at your highest talent level, your highest skill level, your best achievement level every day at work? And then if not, how can you incorporate that? How can you infuse that into what you do every day at work? And then before you quit your day job, how can you transition that into that being your own venture, that being something you do for yourself? Listen, I want to say this to my people of faith. If you've read the Bible, right, and I've read it, and I'm still continuing to read it day by day. If you've read the Bible, you understand that there are only certain positions in society biblically. There are those who are, right? There are those who work for themselves and those who work for others. Okay, right? Even if you were a shepherd and a shepherd of little means, you were at least working for yourself, right? Even if you were a farmer and you were a farmer of little means, you were at least working for yourself. Paul was a tent maker. Jesus was a carpenter. And so these are people that were working for themselves. But then the group of people who work for others usually fall into two categories. They were either soldiers or slaves, right? They were either soldiers or slaves. And so listen, if you ain't carrying a shield and a sword in your profession, you are what they would consider a servant, a slave. And so get out of that and get into working for yourself and obtaining something for yourself, because that's part of the intent. You were intended to be the head and not the tail. And so you have no business being wagged by someone else, right? A lot of times we get caught up into it. We get caught up in the mix and say, get a good job, get all these different things. But you can't depend on a good job like you used to for retirement and pension and all that. That only happens in certain industries and in certain instances. Now you have people that still have quote unquote good jobs that still have to transition to multiple jobs within a 20 to 30-year career. And think about it. This is the reality. And so I want you to get to it. Take advantage of this dream map. Get out here and do your thing. This is what's happening. Hey, let's go, Brother Chavez, right? Much respect, right? And so this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get folks to understand that this is something that you can do. This is something you can accomplish. This is something you can do on your own. This is something you can do in partnership with others. This is something you can do as part of a fellowship, as part of a small group, as part of someone who believes in achieving a goal. And so take it from here. This is what we're doing. We're trying to provide inspiration. It's Coffee and Chat with Rev Bruce. We'll be back next week, putting together a couple of panels over the next couple of weeks to get folks to discuss some issues as we move forward into 2021 and try to keep people inspired on doing what they need to do to get ahead in this life and to live a life that they're determined and destined to live. Hey, I love y'all. This has been a great time. This has been a time for me to share and unleash. And keep it in mind, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. God bless.